Hello everyone, welcome to Semi Homesteading with Abby. Thank you all so much for tuning into this video. Today we're doing something very exciting, and I say that like every video, but we are doing something that I've wanted to learn about for a very long time, and that is pressure canning. So I've been researching canning, doing the water bath canning or pressure canning, and I've decided that I really want to can soups and like my mom's spaghetti sauce and things like that. Not only to be prepared and stock my pantry and have a big stockpile of food, but also because I have a big family in the area and I want to be able to like last minute host something and say, okay, what do we need? Okay, I have all of this soup that's ready to go, or all of this spaghetti sauce that I don't have to make for 2 hours. So I definitely want it for the prepping side of it all, but I also want a last minute dinner to be readily accessible that we really like, that's homemade, that's not just from a can with all this extra sugar in it and stuff. And you know, my husband and I were just talking about this, like we just had sloppy joes for dinner, and I love our recipe so much. It's really not that hard to make, but if we get hungry and haven't planned a dinner or getting home late or something, it would be really nice to just be able to grab a can of our own sloppy joe meat, because like once you start getting into these canned sloppy joes, they tend to be so overly sweet, and honestly I don't really like them that much. I kind of only like our recipe. So I want the ease of having a last minute meal that is also cooked by us, and from the research that I've done, it seems like pressure canning is really the way to go, and that will really guarantee the safety of any of the soups and sauces and things like that we want to can. So I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna actually make the sauce and can it tomorrow, but for right now I need to go actually pick out a pressure cooker. Sounds like they have a bunch of them at Walmart that I can choose from. I feel like I kind of need to see the size with my own eyes. I can't really visualize what these number of quarts and everything looks like. Hopefully I get the right one. I'm gonna try to get a pretty big one, but I don't know if I'll be like industrially canning or anything like that. So maybe like a mid-size, we'll see. But let's go to the store and pick one out.
This mountain went by cool.
I found a pressure canner, but there's only one, so I guess my choice has been made for me. Alright, so here is the pressure canner I got. You know, standard size. Again, I didn't really have a choice, honestly, but this one looks good. It can also double as a water boiler canner, so I thought it was a solid option. The other thing I got with these little cans, or little jars, because, you know, you can never have too many jars for my future canning endeavors. Alright, let's open up this pressure canner because I have my tomato sauce ready to go and in jars, and I do not know how to work this. So I need to open it, get some directions. This also doubles as a boiling water canner. I was about to buy a boiling water canner for fruits and stuff, and this doubles as it, so very exciting. everyone, it's time for a little chat. So I'm sure you know by the title, I think I'm gonna probably name this something along the lines of canning fail. So basically the concept of this video obviously was to buy a pressure canner, learn how to use it, and then pressure can my mom's meat sauce. I got started, cooked all the meat sauce, and all of that you saw. But then as soon as I opened the pressure can and I was trying to go look at the instruction booklet for how to use it, how to operate it, all of that, I started reading all of these things where it was like, only use pressure canning recipes to can, because if it's, you know, before 1994, it could be bad and you could not know how long to process it for. If you process it for too little amount of time or at the wrong pressure, it could not be safe to eat and it won't actually survive long term. And so I have my tomato sauce in a jar in the fridge, and I was just reading through this, like there's too much that I don't know. Like I wanted to learn this and make a video about it and put it out, and I thought it was just gonna be so simple. Normally I would just like scrap the video. My original instinct was just to say, okay, well, I'll just put this on pause, you know, scrap the footage, scrap the video, find out something else to do for this week's video. But I thought it just might be useful and interesting to document that I really thought that I could just make a meat sauce recipe and then can it, and it turns out to be much more complicated than I thought. Now, after I got over the let's scrap the video, let's whatever, I thought, okay, well, maybe I could just research in a kind of short amount of time. But then I started reading the canning approved meat sauce recipes, and there was like 2.5 pounds of beef with 1 onion, or, you know, and then some mushrooms thrown in. And they said, do not increase the amount of onions or mushrooms. I was like, what? Why? Like there's all these nuances that I realized that I just don't know. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just make vegetable soup. Like let's go scroll to one of their vegetable soup recipes. And what they said is that actually vegetable soup is better made if you can all of your stock and each vegetable separately and then combine them at the time of cooking. And at that point I was like, I literally just don't think I know enough about canning specific types of items to feel comfortable canning them and then making sure that they are processed correctly at enough time with the right poundage and all of that sort of thing. The other thing that really threw a wrench in my canning thing was the altitude component. There's a lot about being above 1,000 feet of altitude. Like if you're above 1,000 feet, you have to add some pounds of pressure, and then you have to add a certain amount per 1,000 feet of elevation you're at. And I'm in Colorado, so we are at a high elevation, and the combination of all three of those revelations where it's like, well, what happens if I do add more onion, because my ratio of onion is not the same as this canning recipe's onion, and then the vegetable soup has to be separate, and then the, you know, the pressure has to be right, and if you don't do the pressure right, then you're gonna get these toxins. And then, you know, if your food does go bad, the booklet was talking about how if you open the can, sometimes for tomato-based things and for something else, maybe meat, there is like no actual smell difference. Like you would not be able to detect anything wrong. So then there's these other signs you have to look for things to go bad. And overall, I just felt too unprepared for the canning that was about to happen that day. And instead of just waiting and learning something else, I thought it was just kind of interesting to, you know, document this wake-up call where some things are just going to take longer to learn. Like not everything is going to be learnable within a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm going to pause on the canning thing, take some time to actually research one like canning dish. I'll probably do a similar meat sauce, but actually a canning recipe. You know, usually I'm not one to follow like all the CDC guidelines. You know, life's about some sort of risk, because as a side note, I researched raw milk one time and the CDC website literally makes it seem like if you take a sip, you will die. And that is just not true. I understand the place for pasteurization. I also understand the place for raw milk. But ever since then, and you know, some other world events, I have realized that sometimes I'm willing to take a little bit more risk than what maybe official organizations say that you should. But for this, I think when I'm just starting out canning, I think I am going to do like one actual canning recipe and then read about how to adjust that for what my altitude is and all of that. And I'm just gonna reel it a step back and go really by the book and take some time to research it more to make sure I'm doing it correctly. I think the chaos of all of that also made me a little bit nervous to actually use the pressure canner. Like the amount of warnings I had to get past to actually get to how to can, like in that booklet, the amount of injuries that can be caused. I don't know, I was like, I gotta full stop on this one and go pause and just research more about actual pressure canning. Now, what I do think I'm gonna be doing is doing the water boiling canning and can some fruits here soon, and then the pressure canning will probably be a little bit of a later video. So that is all for today's video. Sorry you didn't see me actually learn a new skill, but I will post my mom's meat sauce recipe. Go make it because you'll be doing yourself a favor. It is the best. So thank you all so much for watching today's video. We will be back with an actual homesteading skill next video. Have a great day, and I will see you all next video. Bye everyone.